Africa, where the oldest roads are elephant paths.
How do I know that I'm African?
Is it the colour of skin?
Is it the language that I speak?
Or is it the beliefs of my ancestors?
I know this.
The first breath I took was of African air.
The first word I spoke, Africa heard.
The first step I took was on African soil.
Every time my heart beats, it beats for Africa.
I am African.
I am African.
I am African.
I'm African.
I am an African.
I am African.
I am African.
I am African.
We are Africans.
I am part of this diverse mix of cultures. I am a thread in this rich tapestry of different ethnicities and skin colors and races and cultures, and I am part of Africa's present, and I'm also part of Africa's future.
I was born in Africa. I have the blood of Africa flowing in me.
Africa is in my heart, and I think I am in Africa's heart.
Diversely beautiful and diversely special.
What makes you African? I believe that it's about how you carry yourself. It's about what language you choose to speak, how you choose to speak that language. It's an attitude. It's a mindset.
I feel like who I'm meant to be, and I feel a strong sense of purpose and destiny when I'm here. Therefore, I am African.
I consider myself African because this is all I've ever known.
I am African because of my humility, the brilliance in my tongue, and just how I treat people, just how I welcome everyone in my heart.
My first nanny, Connie, was the epitome of an African. She worshipped the ground, she worshipped the soil, she worshipped the culture. She spoke all the languages, she taught me everything about Africa. She made me African.
I've more in common with the people from South Africa than I have with anybody else I've met overseas.
I consider people that are African those who are born, bred, and who have their roots in Africa. Their ancestors are from Africa. It can be white, it can be black, it can be Asian, as long as their roots are in Africa. I consider them African.
Welcome back to the Capture Guru. Today, I'm going to be working on what most probably one of the most exciting and important projects I've ever done in my life. I've been very fortunate to be given the opportunity by BLQ magazine, which is Black Life Quarterly, to present an idea that I've had and show people what being an African is all about.
When it comes to image selection, image editing, and then finally displaying all of those images, there's a lot of key criteria that I look towards. Some of it is, what do the images say? What are we trying to portray? What are the messages that we're trying to put out there? Especially with this series that we're doing, the message that we're trying to put out there is there's no context to what you're seeing, but there's some form of discussion that we're trying to bring about. So when you see these people in the nude, when you see them without a name or without a story, it's about you trying to infiltrate what that story is. You're trying to dissect who they are and what makes them African, because there's so many varying degrees to who we are as Africans. And I think it's very important for you to take the time and to interrogate not only the images, but interrogate yourself and interrogate the people that you look around you. Because it's one thing to just look at someone and judge them, but it's another thing to take the time and be like, I can reflect, I can learn from something, I can learn from someone, learn about myself and learn about the world around me, especially as an African. I think it's very important to take that time to do so.
This issue of who is an African and what it means to be an African is a very powerful and very emotive issue, and we approach it with a great deal of sensitivity. We have a history which is filled with pain, which is filled with joy, which is filled with taking, giving, and I think in dealing with who is an African or saying I'm an African, we need to be sensitive to all of these things. Having said that, there are many people whose ancestors, if you go back generations and generations, were not of African descent, and yet they consider themselves African because they've lived on the African continent for so many years, and all they know is what Africa has to offer. Chief Albert Lutuli said an amazing thing in his book, Let My People Go. He said, somewhere ahead there beckons a civilization which will take its place in God's history with other great human syntheses, Chinese, Egyptian, Jewish, European. It will not necessarily be all black, but it will be African. And we've addressed this issue of I'm an African from a point of view of people who consider themselves African, born in Africa, bred in Africa, many times multi-generations before them were born and bred in Africa.
It all started when my daughter of 7 years of age needed to go to school dressed as an African. And my wife and myself went into her room and we said, Shauna, we've got some nice stuff for you to wear. I've got a Basuta blanket, a Basuta hat and some beads and that, and you're going to school dressed as an African. And she wouldn't wear them. She was determined not to. And we said, well, Shawnee, why won't you wear them? And she turned around and she said, I am an African and this is what I wear. And it gave me absolute chills. And I thought, this is so important, and this is something that I've got to follow through with and start understanding where I come from and who I am.
One man on the video said, I'm African because that's all I know, a white guy. And so we bring this sensitively and yet passionately. I'm an African. I consider myself an African. My dad and my mom were African. Their parents were born in Africa, and their parents' parents were born in Africa. It's all I know. I'm not going anywhere. I love Africa. I love the people of Africa. I love the cultures of Africa. I love the diversity that Africa offers. I consider this home, and many, many of us do. And when we consider it home, we give of our hearts and our lives and our souls and all that we have to make it a better place.
Being an African, I've always seen myself as an African, but being white, often I've questioned it and said, am I an African? Am I really accepted where I am? And this is something that I've gone and spoken to a lot of people about, and now believe I know what I am. And so today we're going to be giving you thoughts and feelings of different people about being an African. And all I can say is, we are Africans.